I almost let this dong here like smack you in the face. Sorry about that. But yes, what's up everyone? This is Soul. This is Coffee and WoW. WoW is not going to be up for at least another hour or so after we just learned on Twitter, and Realms ain't going up right now. So we're going to be talking about stuff. That's why we're just chatting. We'll see how long I last this time. But yeah, what's up to Jalzon? You're the first person to say hi, so you get a point. Congratulations. What's up to Jeppy? What's up to Purse? What's up to Rakana? What's up to Skell Shouties? It's been a while, dude. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Jeppy, by the way, for subbing. Much appreciated. Thank you, Purse. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. And like I said, I'm still waking up, so... And I'm also recording right now, so hey, it's Soul. This is a video. I'm going to be talking about some kind of breaking news. Sorry about the borders. Whatever. We're just going to like kind of get right to it with some fresh reactions and like OMGs and stuff like that. J Allen Brack, effective now, apparently, is stepping down from Blizzard Entertainment. And now everything's better. Great. No, not really. There's a bit to talk about. It's not a lot to talk about because, at least for me, I'm still letting this kind of soak in and try to figure out reactions. I want to try to figure out who these new people are, who are not actually new. They're industry veterans who have had a big breadth of experience, and so we'll talk about that. But yeah, first, J Allen Brack is gone, and yeah, according to chat, sexism is over. It's done. You know, equality is here. We figured this was going to happen. This was bound to happen, especially because Brack was implicated, or at least he was named in that lawsuit as being someone who knew about things that happened, or at least kind of enabled it by. Not exactly by, yeah, Cosby, go, do it. I'm sure it wasn't exactly that, but it was more like, if you know what happens and you don't do anything about it, or if you just kind of slap him on the wrist, that's, that in the eyes of the public, especially shareholders, which is sad because I have to say, especially shareholders, because they apparently matter more. That sort of pressure, that's going to make, that he basically had to fall on the sword for that one, and that is like I said, it's not unexpected. My hope is that it's just the beginning, and that maybe we won't see a whole bunch of high-profile departures, but I hope to see that the leadership, that as new leadership takes over and as the suit progresses, I hope it does. I hope that whole case does proceed. That it starts to, it enables Blizzard to just scrub itself from top, which we're starting to see a little bit, to the very, very bottom, to make sure that this sort of behavior is just gone. But more importantly, I guess, more importantly than behavior, that the culture is scrubbed away too. I think that's more important to identify. So Brack was promoted not too long ago to president Blizzard Entertainment after I'm forgetting his name, after Mike Morhaime had left under, I don't even know what circumstances they are anymore, but Mike Morhaime was out, J Allen Brack was in. Felt very awkward, by the way. I don't know if anyone has talked about it, but during that BlizzCon, when Mike Morhaime made his last speech, there was supposed to be a thing where the people in the audience would hold up panels or something like that, and I think it was supposed to present a message, but that was so poorly organized that it just didn't happen, and it felt very, very awkward. I don't know. It's not a huge deal, but like I said, very awkward. So anyway, I guess I'll take the word. I'll take that phrasing back. I guess he didn't fall on the sword. Someone just kind of pushed him onto it. It was probably that sort of thing. But anyway, he's being replaced by two people. Two people will now be kind of managing the company. Let me look at. Let me just read the press statement. How about that? That's nice and consistent. To all members of the Blizzard community, we want to let you know an important leadership change at Blizzard Entertainment. Starting today, J Allen Brack will be stepping down as leader of the studio, and Jen O'Neill and Mike Ybarra will co-lead Blizzard moving forward. Jen joined Blizzard in January as Executive Vice President of Development, where she's been providing senior development leadership and support to the Diablo and Overwatch franchises. Jen is the former head of Vicarious Visions, which is now part of Blizzard Entertainment. After many years at Xbox, Mike joined the company in 2019 as the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Platform and Technology, where he's been overseeing the evolution of Battle.net and our development services organization. Jen and Mike have more than 3 decades of gaming industry experience between them. Moving forward, they will share responsibilities over game development and company operations. Both leaders are deeply committed to all of our employees, to the work ahead to ensure Blizzard is the safest, most welcoming workplace as possible for women and people of any gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or background, to upholding and reinforcing our values and to rebuilding your trust. With their many years of industry experience and deep commitment to integrity and inclusivity, Jen and Mike will lead Blizzard with care, compassion, and a dedication to excellence. You'll hear more from Jen and Mike soon. The following is a message from J Allen Brack. I'm confident that Jen O'Neill and Mike Ybarra will provide the leadership Blizzard needs to realize its full potential and will accelerate the pace of change. I anticipate they will do so with passion and enthusiasm, and that they can be trusted to lead with the highest levels of integrity and commitment to the components of our culture that make Blizzard so special. Finally, a thank you all for being a part of the Blizzard community and for your passion and determination for safety and equality for all. Now, it's a canned, corporate-y sort of statement. I can't even say with any confidence that Brack's statement is even his own. It might have just been something that someone else wrote for him, and they were like, hey, Jay, you think this is cool? And Jay's like, whatever, man, while he's packing up all his shit. Whatever. And the corporate person's like, okay, great. If they even had that sort of conversation. But I did like the words. I did like the following part where it said that Jen and Mike will provide the leadership that Blizzard needs to realize its full potential, and this is the important part, to accelerate the pace of change. And hopefully this does set the pace. Even though historically it's hard to have a lot of faith in change in a whole corporate sort of structure, and I totally get that. At the same time, as a brainless shill and sheep for Blizzard, I do feel like I should be excited about what could be happening next. I don't have it on screen right now, but I'm just trying to think to myself, okay, who else is like towards the top over at Blizzard? The only name that comes to mind is John Haidt, but I don't believe he's been mentioned off of anything before. I wonder what his golden parachute is going to be. Not important. That the whole like the anger over executive pay and things like that. It's an important conversation to have. But the topic, at least at the moment, is the immediate conversation of, what I think, or what we may think, or what we hope to be the future over at Blizzard. So Jen O'Neill, she was the studio head of Vicarious Visions, and Vicarious Visions was kind of a satellite or a support studio that was under the Activision umbrella. It's been like that for I think 10, 15 years or so. They supported studios, or they supported Activision publishing with certain titles like the Call of Duty franchise and whatnot. But they also worked on their own projects, which were mostly remasters and remakes. Like you saw Crash Bandicoot, you saw the Tony Hawk game, that was them. So Jen has the experience of someone who has run at least a smaller studio. Now she's going to be co-running like multiple studios and a publisher, and ever since she took her role not too long ago, she has been working with, what was it? It was Diablo and the Overwatch franchises. So she has an idea of what it's like to run stuff. She's familiar with leadership, and she's also familiar with the inner workings of Activision, the corporate side of Activision. She has a little bit of a little experience there. Mike Ibarra, he has, I believe he started at the bottom. You could say he started as an engineer, and he basically worked his way through, starting from engineering roles to product management roles. Eventually, he was part of the process that created the Xbox Game Pass, and then now he yeeted over here to Activision Blizzard, and he's been doing it since. One thing to note, though, and Twitter has been quick to note it too, is that Mike is pretty good at WoW. Because I follow him on Twitter, and every now and then I'll see him tweet his accolades and things like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, great, cool. The suit is a mythic raider, which is kind of cool. That's the suit, not the lead game dev, not the senior producer or whatever, but the suit is a mythic raider. And as well as a pretty accomplished Mythic Plus person. Someone noted his IO score, and it was like pretty high. And I think he already has, he definitely got KSM for season 1. I think he already has KSM for season 2. Got that in the first couple weeks. Yay to him. So for anyone who's wondering, hey, if being good at the game, if that qualifies you to be at a leadership position in a game studio, you got a chance. Nice. So, not to say that the two of them are perfect candidates, but I don't know what perfect candidates would be. I've seen some comments on like Wowhead and Twitter and other such places, putting aside the really toxic ones. A lot of them are like, oh, we don't know who these people are. How do we know what they're going to contribute? And I saw some other comments saying, this is dumb. Having these two at the top, it's no longer Blizzard. Good, because what Blizzard was led us to this moment, right? So bringing in fresh perspectives is risky, but I think it's also, it's risky. But the point of risk is that sometimes things can work out, sometimes things can't. And me, I'm the type who would rather lean towards the possibility of things being awesome and great. I have a pretty good feeling that the rest of the company was probably not involved with the decision to do this. This was entirely an executive leadership or a shareholder thing that made this push. So I wonder how the rest of the studio feels about this. I haven't looked enough at Twitter. Like I said, I'm reacting pretty fresh to this. It wouldn't surprise me if people inside the company were learning this at the same time as the news broke. So it's going to be a rocky couple days. I think today there's supposed to be a quarterly earnings call about this. So obviously this is something that can't be ignored during that call, unless it will be. But for the most part, I feel good about this. But again, like I said earlier, this is a scrubbing that needs to go from top to bottom. It's not just and it's not just about weeding out like the old guard and the old culture. It is more than that. There were demands that employees made during that walkout. One of which, neither of which it necessarily called for J Allen Brack to step down. And I apologize in advance. I don't even remember what all the demands were specifically, but this is what is hopefully the start of that process, because change of this type doesn't immediately happen. You can't just decree, yes, this is what we've done, and actually expect it to actually happen. Per says, well, let's hope it's a different time now. I mean, years ago we had Gamergate, and no one really helped any of those girls out. Now we have Me Too. Things are different. People aren't going to take this shit anymore. Yeah, Gamergate was. Gamergate was a very messy first start to, like, that did little more than raise awareness and embolden the current misogyny, because the male reaction was so freaking strong. I guess when it comes to, oh, should we like scrub everything at the same, with the same prejudice that we did with Alex Cosby, and I'm hesitant on that, because sucking at being aware of, sucking at acting on someone else's bad behavior, does that, should you hang for that? I do think that there should be accountability. Sure, absolutely. And I would hope that Metzen would be like, you know what? Thrall isn't mine anymore. Thrall belongs to the players. It belongs to the fans and the audience and stuff. So I think it wouldn't, if he was asked to step down and he was like, no, I refuse, blah, 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 that would feel kind of, I think that would feel kind of douchey. But I guess I'll go back to that whole thing on, it doesn't just belong to him anymore. WoW doesn't belong to the abusers or the enablers. It belongs to everyone, including the imperfect people. But who should be in control? But yeah, who should be in control? Should we be able to self-police each other? I think so. But should we not celebrate changes? Hopefully positive changes when they do happen? No, I think this is something that causes for a reaction and like a. But also, yeah, the work isn't done. Replacing the leadership doesn't immediately, solve everything. It needs to kind of trickle down as well, if that's the case. They can simply kill Thrall or change his voice actor, but so far it seems like Chris had no knowledge in anything. But yeah, I'm sure Metzen wasn't like, yeah, go ahead, Cosby, fucking do that. I'm sure it wasn't like that. Bad actors tend to hang around bad actors. That's kind of the tendency. Like, if they probably don't act the way that they do in front of people who don't think the same way they do. It's kind of a thing. That's why people of the same mindset tend to hang around each other, because they can be themselves. So that could have been what was going on. But no doubt that with how deep rooted this is, it's like an infection, right? It's kind of like an infection that is very difficult to excise without ripping out some extra skin and all that. So I do hope that we see more changes and whatnot in the long term. I don't know if Thrall would get killed off, since he's also Christy Golden's creation too. Wait, what? Christy Golden didn't write Thrall in. Wasn't Thrall like way back. Thrall goes way back. But no, I don't I don't think Thrall the character is going to be affected, even though they almost look alike. I don't think that his character is going to be affected. At worst, they'll replace him as a voice actor. Whichever. Doing too much would feel so disruptive, and it'd be such a slip from under the rug that I think it's hard to want to like risk messing with production even more than it already is. It starts at the top. My hopes are that, again, that the scrubbing is slow and thorough. Fast and thorough doesn't quite work in this situation. That's kind of my take on it. It's going to take time to and by scrubbing, I don't necessarily mean getting rid of everybody, because I do believe in I buy into a good redemption story, right, Sylvanas? I buy into the idea that people can be called out for their behavior, but also given a chance to do better. Once that's been identified, if that person is like, really? I've been a dick? Yeah, Gunther, you've been a dick. What can I do? that kind of situation can happen because I believe in the good in people. I believe that people can change and improve. And I also believe that it's very hard and that some people can fail at that redemption story, right, Sylvanas? So I'm gonna stay hopeful on that. What about Jeff Kaplan? Are we going to find out that he's been involved? I think that's going to be up to the lawsuit, Fierce. If he did something, then hopefully that will push it out. But no one's really spoken out against Kaplan or Morheim specifically. Aside from with regards to Morheim, at least. Hey, you must have known, but you said nothing. Blah blah blah. But as for like, was he like one of those people? I don't know. Preset scumbags like that can tell when other people won't agree with them, so they keep out of it. Chris was not included in the suits and was not part of any of the conversations. Chris was a good guy, so it's likely they kept him out of it. At the same time, that lawsuit names 10 people. We don't know their names. They're called what, John Does, I think, in the suits. So it's hard to say what's going to happen over the next a lot of time. We don't know how long this whole process is going to take, but it won't be fast. I guarantee that. It's going to take quite some time. If he totally knew or heard rumors about it and did nothing and left, you can't be that active in a company and not at least hear things. You'd be surprised actually. There are organizations where where the leadership is so far removed from everything else that I think it's a bit harder to tell than we may think. Should Kotick necessarily step down for it? I want to say yes, but it feels like he's so far removed from it. His concern is like, yes, this yacht. Can it fly? No, it can't fly. When can it fly? It's hard for me to support it. Like, he's greedy, he makes too much money, and so many other things, but I feel like he lives on such a cloud. Christy Golden helped write Thrall in Lord of the Clans. I remember her calling him her baby and the Thrall thing during last BlizzCon. At the same time, though, just because she's the writer doesn't mean that a character is hers. Because as far as I know, Christy Golden is the paintbrush, but Danuser is the narrative designer. So to me, it's that sort of difference. Villain, I'm pretty sure it's more like, people who are there, they know what the culture is like, but I'm sure that many of them felt so crippled that they thought, this is just what I'm gonna have to do. I just gotta live with this because it's everywhere. I can't do anything about it. I'm sure that people just did not feel empowered at all. Now I hope that they do, and I hope that momentum keeps up, and that it and that it grows, and that this is some sort of positive infection that reaches throughout the industry or the planet. But that's, of course, asking for a whole lot, and reality is a lot more cruel than that, unfortunately. I've always heard that each team at Blizzard were in their kinds of bubbles. Yeah. Like Team 1, Team 2, they have their own like little things to them. So it could be. People at Team 2, the WoW team, the way that they talked about it, they seem to be, at least now, they seem to be like united. They seem to be okay. But there were people who worked on the WoW team, I still follow them on Twitter, who were burned by members of their own team. It wasn't necessarily a sexism or a harassment thing. It was more just like a shitty interaction, being thrown under the bus. Stuff that is unfortunately common in the corporate world, where you're on a team, things don't work out, and you get blamed for it, and your other colleagues team up on you because they're trying to survive. Unfortunately, they're sacrificing you in order to do it. So that really sucks. That's not necessarily the harassment and sexism, sex discrimination stuff that we're talking about, but it's still bad and something that that needs to be worked on better. Leadership is supposed to be leading and not sitting in an ivory tower. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I know I was talking about, oh yeah, the leadership, they were so far removed from it. I do believe that they need to be a lot more proactive when they need to be a lot more proactive. I think what makes it complicated though is that if you're in Morheim's or Kotick's chair, you would think, oh, okay, maybe I should act because I'm hearing things. But if no one lets you hear things, then what do? It's like some people have wanted Blizzard to burn, right? They want everyone gone. Whether you were good or bad there, everyone just needs to go because clearly it's infected. Hearing that sort of discourse, when you're there, what do you think of that? You think to yourself, oh, my job is going to be in jeopardy if anything gets leaked out. The mindset there could be, well, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to pretend like nothing bad's going on because if something bad's going on, then heads are going to roll, and I don't want to get, I don't want to lose my job. I got kids to feed. I got this and this coming. I got someone to take care of when I'm sick. So it creates, that sort of pressure creates, it helps to foster that fear of wanting to speak out and whistle blow. Because even if you are innocent, you don't want to lose your, you just don't want to lose your job. So it's very nuanced. It's up to each individual person, and everyone's a part of it to some extent. Again, that's why I believe in a good redemption story. I believe that people can be coached, and that the culture can be scrubbed away to where we just don't tolerate that sort of behavior. And if it's snipped quick, then you don't have to worry about this company-wide infection. It just needs to be attacked a lot more aggressively and a lot more decisively. Right now, it's not. People need to realize that Blizzard is 9,500 people. If 10 people are causing trouble, then that is a small amount of the company. Tell me if you notice 0.1% of anything. Well, I'm sure those people I'm sure the victims, they definitely notice. But I see what you're saying, Fel. It's more than the numbers, but I get it. I worked as a manager in a company for several years. It wasn't until after I was laid off that I found out a lot of the drama that went on in other departments. And a lot of that's because, once you find out as the manager, then you're going to want to investigate. Things are going to get awkward, and people would rather just deal with it and survive it than have to risk the wrath of losing their job. It sucks. I don't understand the hate. Okay, I do understand the hate on Christy Golden because we know her name. That's it. If it was someone else's name, then we would be harping on someone else's name instead. We know Steve Denuser's name, so we're going to give him all the crap over it. I mean, Denuser's different. He's a leadership role. He writes off on all these things, and he cheerleads it, regardless of what his personal thoughts or feelings might be, which we have no idea what they are. So it's impossible to say, but oh well. I'm gonna piggyback on that. Tally said when his DMs were open, Ian's name was not in them. See, I joked, and it's not a very good joke to make about this because we still don't know everything that's going to happen. But I joked that, someday, guys, we're going to see, vice president and executive producer Ian Asakostas with a possible, if there's some sort of possible power vacuum that's going to happen. He could be moving up, and you might see that the nerd The nerd lawyer turned out to be one of the good ones, at least. Which is like saying, hey, that guy definitely not a murderer. Actually, why even use an analogy? That guy definitely didn't harass women. Give that dude a promotion. No, that's not. That is not cause for merit. It is. Yeah, I didn't kill anyone today. Ooh. Here's a cookie. Sheesh. In conclusion, J Allen Brack leaving is hopefully just the beginning of what is going to be more positive changes for Blizzard, and a message to the industry that this kind of stuff isn't going to be tolerated, and that these things have, this sort of behavior is going to have consequences. That's a message, J Allen Brack leaving is a message to other leadership teams out there that that they need to do better, that they need to be more proactive with what's going on. The most that I could do is to, speak in favor of victims and speak in favor of those who are marginalized, and support them as much as I can, as well as make an example of myself by not murdering people. And there's no virtue in that. But apparently that needs to be but unfortunately that seems to be like a positive example. But if that's what it takes, whatever, fine. And that's it. Feel free to rant as much as I did in the comments. I don't care if you liked the video. This is very rambly. But I appreciate you sticking around to the end. So I'll see you guys for the next thing that I do. Until then, though, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy. Not you guys, though. You guys are stuck with my ass.